this thing of like black people putting other races on a pedestal over them. One thing we don't pay attention to is that like the music, the movies, everything that we are told tells us that all these other groups are better than us, and it tells us that they are doing better. Even this book, right? If you read it in Inception, you'd assume that this guy really is saying that all these other people are better than us, and I think that we eventually believe it. Like you get into a corporate space, and you feel insecure as a black person because you assume that the white guy or the Indian guy or the colored person, it knows better than you, right? Because you're constantly told that the other races have better knowledge than you simply because of culture or whatever it is.
Can I ask something? How does us believing that other races are better than us make me hate people who belong to the same racial group as myself? Is it a projection of that? Could I say insecurity? That because I feel so inferior around these other people, I self-hate myself? Is it or is it maybe a case of were we taught to react to each other that way? Or is it a thing of rolling this, or is it what's the name, a crab in the barrel mentality? That all of us at the bottom, so as soon as someone elevates even a little bit, I'll do what I can to keep you down.
What's the first thing that a black person does when they make money?
They move out.
They move out. the first little money, like not even a lot of money. Like the first thing a black person does when they make some sort of money, right, is they move out of township and they move out of a black area, right? And they specifically are looking for an area that has more white people or quote unquote other races, right? And if, like, I kid you not, if then, like for example, some parts of like Joburg, right, which were white back in the day, now more black people came in, and then the certain black people who were there when the whites were there, the moment they see more black people come in, the first thing they want to do is move to a whiter area.
Do you know what I think the problem is? We were never really taught to love ourselves, and I think even from an educational perspective, there hasn't been a focus on African history, African love, African-nacity. See what I did there? So
I can't comment.
So given that's been the problem, we've always aspired to other things, the things that we've been taught about, and I think that's a very deep problem that we really need to confront and fix. And then secondly, with regards to sort of pulling down people that are somewhat excelling, I think it's very difficult when everyone is, I guess it's a tricky one. There is comfort in knowing that you all are sort of in the same position, and once someone elevates, you kind of feel some type of way, and two, maybe you don't want to confront yourself given that you could have been the one who could have done the things. So I think it's partly that as well, but a big part of it, I genuinely believe, is the lack of black love, and hence we always feel inferior. And maybe representation is a thing. Maybe once you enter these spaces, you always hear the first black, there's first. I absolutely hate that term, right? But I understand it.
What about that term makes you hate it?
It doesn't come from a place of abundance. It comes from a place of being limited, and there can only be so many number of black folks. I think Vusi Tembogaya does mention this a bit, where
they actually make us compete for the same spot.
We arrive as a collective. It's always, there must be one Jabu, there must be one this, and he's here, the first. You know what I mean? That's why I don't like it.
Can I ask something? As black people, we'll get back to the book. Don't worry, we'll get back to the book. But I think it's an important question to ask. As black people, do you think we should be fighting for a seat at the table, or we should be aiming to create our own table?
I think you should create your own. Then you can come up with your own rules. You can control how you go about creating your table. I think once we start negotiating on someone else's table, fundamentally it's not your table.
So I know.
But I think you should learn from how they've created the table. I want to make that point.
I wasn't even gonna say that. Like again, from in America, right? I get that, right? Because black people are like 5%, right? The numbers could be like way higher than 5%. But from a South African context, do you think it's fair, where we're 80% of the population, to create our own economy and this is not actually to do any race politics. It's not the point. The point is just from an economic perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Luda's perfume. Anyway, this is not about race politics. It's just about economics, right? Just numbers wise. So 80% of us, right? And if you're saying that let's create our own table and not get a seat at the bigger table, I think it's an unfair thing just from a numbers basis, right? So, but now I don't have the answer for this. I hope you guys on the comment section, plug the comment section, you guys can tell us about ways to get the best way out of how do you get 80% of the population to actually have a seat at the table so that the table looks from a numbers basis equal.
What makes you think the table's big enough in the first place?
It clearly is, because you and I are still able to function. Like, I'm not saying that black people shouldn't create things. I think it's unfair to tell black people that let 80% of the economy go to 10% of the economy, and you guys as 80% of the people can create your own economy. I think it's unfair in South Africa's context, actually in the rest of Africa's context, to say that. In America I get it, right? But in South Africa's context, I think it's really unfair to a black person to say that.
So the reason I say the reason I really advocate for creating your own table is because in South Africa, unemployment is really high, right? You can't have a situation where we are all competing for the same jobs. So there's only X number of big corporates, and there are only X number of people that those corporates can actually accommodate. So by you then going out and venturing and creating your own business, right, I strongly advocate for that. One, it can maybe has a potential to grow 100x, right? You can employ a ton more people, and by subsequently doing that, you're making the entire pie collectively bigger for everyone, right? And I think that's a win-win situation, as opposed to, but then again, I get your argument of it's pointless, let's say, trying to create another discovery, right? If there already is a discovery, right? You can do something else, or maybe where discovery is failing, that's where you would create your business.
But then I want to add on to your point, because it kind of does make one ask the question, is the pie itself big enough, right? Let's be real. The only reason one group, well, in my opinion anyway, a main reason why one group is benefiting from a big pie is because it's a small minority benefiting from a large pie.
And
from a large,
and there's some historic context.
Yeah. Now, as soon as you now introduce more people to start eating the same pie, all of a sudden, this pie may not be big enough. That's why I asked the question, do we think the pie is big enough? You can say, yes, they may control 80% of the economy. But as a collective, this economy is not necessarily even doing a great job at supporting the population.
True.
So what makes you think that by getting more seats at this pie, it is going to result in a better outcome? I think if I listen to a point that Luda made, what I see happening is it's going to continue being a limited amount of seats, and it will basically be, okay, as black people, we're going to continue fighting for more seats at a table, which in my opinion is not big enough in the first place.
Yes, hence I said, right, I do also believe in us creating our own opportunities, right? However, I don't like it when people use entrepreneurship as if it creates equal success for everyone. There's levels to entrepreneurship, right? And one of the things that hurts, right, is that since '94, outside of government-backed AO, right, can you guys give me one company started and created by a black person in South Africa that listed? Not that listing is the ultimate goal for a business.
It's a good measure.
But it's a good measurement. Can you give me?
BCX, the brothers?
I actually thought BCX was white.
No, I think the original entrepreneurs were two brothers. They started the IT company, and eventually
Did they sell it to someone else who listed it?
I'm not sure. I don't know like ownership wise, but yeah, that's for me IT wise. Which other? Does Patrice Motsepe not have a company that's went public?
No.
It's just a
I don't.
venture
Yeah,
capital fund.
I don't count Patrice. No, I don't count. He does, but I don't count him in this case because he's my. Could be
Minority.
wrong. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't count him because he's. I'm talking about from the ground up.
Oh, so like someone has a product or a service
like
they offer.
yeah. I'm talking from a ground up. They created something. Like for example, the guy from Stain City, right? Forget his first name. Where he created all these insurance companies, right? And the Discovery guy, right? And this is not to say that they're better than black people. They probably just had opportunities, right? So I'm not even saying that. The point I'm trying to illustrate is this idea of entrepreneurship in South Africa, that it's the only way for a black person. I disagree with it because we sell a dream that tells everyone that all you need is to sell something and you're going to be successful.
And can I add on to that?
Yeah.
Because I think that as people we have to understand who we are. So now this, I want to move it a bit out of the race category more to just how you as a person is. We're all wired. The three of us are wired differently, right? There are people who are made to be entrepreneurs. And there are people who are made to be employees, right? There are people who are very good at managing things and the people who are very innovative, right? And I think that what's important here, and just add on to Tulani's point, is that not everyone is going to be an entrepreneur. And it's important that you understand your role, right? You may be Steve Ballmer's a very good example, right? At Microsoft.
He made billions.
He's a billionaire. He didn't innovate Microsoft. He was an employee.
Actually, his biggest
who got
criticism
promoted.
at Microsoft was the lack of innovation during his tenure there.
But he was incredibly successful, right? But I think that's, with social media and watching all these people say, oh, become an entrepreneur. Not everyone is meant to be that. You may be a very good number 3 in a company, or a very good number 6 in a company. Not everyone is the number 1, the Steve Jobs, the Bill Gates, the Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musk, the Oprah Winfrey, the Ariana Huffington. Not everyone is a number 1. But like as long as
I don't even know Ariana. What?
Don't you know the Huffington Post?
No.
The news,
Do they own?
No, it's no, like Ariana Huffington's the founder.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She's the one who.
I know the Huffington Post.
Yeah, but she's the one who created the Huffington Post. But not everyone's a number 1. Some people are a number 3 or a 4, and I think that there is this pressure, and also entrepreneurs look down on someone who has a stable job.
I really don't like that.
Who is, they earn an honest living, and it's like, you're a slave to the system.
Yeah, bro, and you're telling me on social media that I suck.
You're posting in social media, and you're attacking people, and I think that's wrong. The reality is that we need to work together. However, if entrepreneurship is what you are called to, I think that you should make the step to do it, to create. And if I could say being a number 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 100 is what you're called to be, play your role, and that's how we'll be able to advance the economy. But I do agree 100% that this idea that entrepreneurship is the only way out is wrong. Because let's be real, what we want isn't entrepreneurship. What we want is financial freedom. Entrepreneurship and financial freedom are 2 very different things.
Look, I want to add on to your point where I really think it's important in terms of just self-awareness. Whenever you read these books about, like producing, being the first 5 a.m. club, all of those, you kind of need to put it in your own perspective, and you need to know what makes you tick. You need to know what you like. You need to know your personality, right? And I think you effectively just need to apply it from that perspective. So for me, like this book, for instance, I didn't even think of the entrepreneurial part. It was just a thing of you need to create more. You need to create more value, and if you're creating value by being the third top person from a CEO suite or something, then that's the position you're going to create value from. If it means entrepreneurship, then that's the value you're going to be creating. But it's just from that perspective.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you something quite personal, right? Just based on experience.
Yeah.
No, man, not like that. You went to UCT, and from my observation, it seems to be a good place for entrepreneurship. Like majority of these young founders in South Africa come from UCT or Wits, right? You can correct me if I'm wrong with that. What do you think has been the... Let me say Cape Town, actually, because you grew up in Cape Town. Like, what do you think is the distinct difference in that culture? Between now you live in Joburg, right?
Yeah.
What do you see that's different?
Okay, on the surface, I think Joburgers in general just are in it for a quick buck, always trying to play middleman, trying to be the face of something. Don't take offense.
It's okay.
Wait, sorry, this nigga's from Pretoria. He bunches us in the same
Hey,
place.
listen. Hey, hold on. I have a billionaire. One of the richest people in the world.
Please don't
Went
use
to my
Elon Musk.
school.
Yeah.
My school. I walked
Elon
the
Musk.
same. I sat on the same toilet seat as he did.
Wait,
In Pretoria.
can I tell you?
Say something.
In the same school that you talk about, Elon Musk hates it. He was bullied. So take that. Look, and I have to say something. Only employees live in Pretoria. Just saying. Continue.
All right, gents.
And she said, no, that is wrong.
No,
that is wrong.
correct.
Only a place that, you know what? I'm not going to get into this. I'm going to give Ludwig room to continue saying what he wants to say, and I'll deal with this imbecile afterwards. Ludwig, you're saying?
Yeah, and compared to Cape Town, I think Cape Townians, one, laid back, obviously, and...
Because the accent changed.
Laid back.
I thought this was between you and Darren. Why are you including me in this?
Cape Townians.
The Capetonians. Pure, bro.
Yeah.
And more times than not, I think they definitely want to create value, right? And are often trying to actually solve a problem. I think, but then on the flip side, then there's the whole, race dynamic where a lot more people in Joburg are of a certain ethnic group versus Cape Town. I don't know what that means, but maybe that plays.
He doesn't want to be cancelled.
It's okay. You dodged that one.
We all know what he means.
Dodge that one. It's
We
okay.
all know what he
Just
means.
move
He just
on.
doesn't want to be
Pretend like
cancelled. Continue.
nothing
But
happened.
yeah, so I think it's just generally like
The race dynamics.
not necessarily race. It's just an environment thing, right? And I know in Cape Town there's also, it's sort of coined the Silicon Valley of Africa because there's quite a number of tech hubs, so to speak. Maybe they are in Joburg. Maybe I don't know of them as of yet, but I do think there's just a slightly more entrepreneurial spirit from a creation perspective as opposed to entrepreneurial spirit from connection perspective in Joburg. So, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Okay.
Any closing remarks on the book? Or any extra
Wait, actually,
touch
I want to know what solutions, because we've unpacked a lot of his criticism. What solutions does he come up with?
I'd say, the spider web doctrine. I'd say finding ways in which you can implement. Hold on.
Please elaborate to people what that is.
So we had alluded on it, but essentially, spider web doctrine. So if I see a spider web, right? When food or any spider web gets an animal and it enters the web, it doesn't leave the web. And he uses spider web doctrine as a way of explaining the flow of money within different communities. So essentially within the black community, what that would mean is how many times does money change hands within a community before it goes out? That's how you create value, or I could say create wealth within a community. So for example, let's say Lute owns a bread shop, Tulani owns, I don't know what did you create? You're not really creative, so I don't know what you come up with.
Wow. Our own hook. Oh.
Milk.
A strip club. Milk. Okay. So he owns a strip club. Lute sells bread, right?
I technically provide value to men.
Yeah. So essentially what will happen is I go out, I work my 9 to 5, I have money, right? I come home, and let's say I have 10K or 5K, right? What do I spend that money on? how do I spend that money to create value within our community? So I can go and buy money at a grocery store outside my community, but in that way I'm enriching another community. Or if I buy all my bread and milk from Luther's grocery store, what am I doing? I'm circulating money within the black community. Now it's weekend time, I want to go out with the boys, I have some bands, I got a bonus, I go to Tulani strip club to go pop bottles, right?
As you
Again,
should.
As you should. Right? Again, I'm keeping money within the community. But now what will happen is Luther now has money from me buying bread from him. He also goes pops bottles at Tulani's strip club.
I mean,
Right? Tulani wants to sell burgers at his strip club. He needs bread and milk to get to for the cheese and all that. So he's going to be buying his bread and his cheese and all that from Luther's butchery and bakery. And in that way, the money that's coming from outside is circulating within this community, and we are enriching each other. And that essentially is the spiral doctrine. It's how many times does money change hands before it leaves a community? Now, I think that's a great way or is a great solution is for us to find small pockets. Sure, we've all seen those hashtags, buy from black business, support black business, etc. Yes, there are people, I'm not going to get into that now, people have the arguments, and I think you guys touched on it earlier, that, there are certain concerns around service delivery and customer service of black business. I get it, fine. I'm not jumping to
No.
that,
I want to click that up. Wait.
Okay, let me finish my point. But the idea behind it of, by you supporting black business, you are circulating wealth within the black communities. And by them supporting you in whatever way, whatever business you have, you're ensuring that the money circulates within that community. And that's how you can generate wealth. However, the catch-22 is that...
Breathe, bro. Breathe, dog. Breathe. I understand you really don't impress a lady with the knowledge, but just breathe. Dog.
I'm trying to get in as many words as I can, so she'll respond to the.
We have time. We have time to impress her.
I'm trying.
Anyway, continue.
The big problem is, one, it obviously needs capital investment, because the reality is, for you to make money circulate within a community, that community needs to control a certain amount of means of production. Right? For you to buy at the bakery, there needs to be a bakery.
Yeah.
For you to put your money in the bank in your community, there needs to be a black-owned bank. Bakery, strip club, whatever it is that you want to put in there. And I think that's kind of the biggest hurdle that we face. I do question that. I don't know if it's necessarily a case of us not wanting to support black business, but it's more so the capital needed to get these businesses started so often is the biggest stumbling block. That we're not even getting to that stage where it's like, okay, I have a small bakery that's open, please support it, and then we grow it from there. But I think that's an idea which can potentially get us there.
Okay, out of the three of us, Luther's the only one that's wearing a jean, right? Where did he buy it? Then no, there's a reason I'm also going to buy it.
Woolies.
Well, it's right. Why?
It's the most convenient.
Okay, define convenience. Is it a price? Is it a quality? What is it? What's the
Combination
of price, quality, right? Okay. Then I think is it Tepo or Tepi jeans? Yeah, right. And then flip. Let's assume. Think a Woolies jean costs around 600.
4. Is it 4?
No,
5?
there's levels to this in China.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's assume 600, right?
Cool.
So remember, it was price.
Also remember, Woolies has different tiers.
Yeah.
It's not just that.
You wouldn't know if you buy shop, right? It's okay. Actually, wait, I'm lying. You wouldn't know. You don't buy shit for home. You don't buy grocery. You don't buy anything.
I buy my clothes. This.
How much is bread?
Pardon?
How much is bread?
Which one? Albany, Sasko?
The fact that you
have to.
Which one?
it's a price question when you're at the shop.
But sure,
Anyway,
how much are Tepo jeans?
I don't know, but people are complaining about it. Actually, wait, is your phone next to you? Check the price there.
No, it's not. I'll put it away because we're recording.
Is it probably the same as with the Matkosa brand?
Actually, I'll even use that, right? Because we have an idea of the prices, and this is not to say that the price, quality, and everything, right? But the idea of it, I don't think we are his target market, which is okay. The same way Gucci targets a certain type of person.
Sure.
I think that's okay. But what I don't think is okay is you coming back to black people and saying that you're not supported. you've picked a target market, and it wasn't the average black person. So don't come and say you
Black
guys are
mailers.
okay. Yeah, you guys are okay at buying Woolworths, because the question for Woolworths was there was a price to it, there was a quality to it, and there was a quantity to it, which means that it's easily available.
Sure.
So if I have to wait 6 months to get your product, and even then it's expensive, not everyone can have that Tesla kind of marketing.
I get you.
So I think that's another thing, is that if you choose a segment, right, and the segment happens to alienate majority of the black people, that's okay. I actually don't have a problem with it, right? Like Smeg and all of them do that, so that's okay. But now don't come to black people and blackmail them for choosing a part where I think that they can
Make sense
for them. If your target market is fighting with Gucci, go fight with Gucci.
And leave the average.
Yeah, we'll go to Mr. Price in peace, right? So yeah. Closing remarks.
So for me, this book just made me question how I spend my money. I was literally just thinking, okay, if you have like a Sony PlayStation, you have a TV, those are all Japanese products. The car you drive, it just made me realize that.
I just looked at something. Yeah, I am this guy. No, man, no. I mean, like what he talks about in the book is that, like, because he says how this TV, where's Hisense from? Like this Hisense TV, someone in Asia unpacked an American product, legit carbon copy, and sold it to you. And then sold it to you. Yeah, that's what he says in the book.
So for me, that's what this book really brought to my attention: how you spend your money, in which communities you spend your money, or which communities basically then have your money.
Just like your hands, keep it short.
So yeah, that's basically it, and it's all about.
It's used to 2 minutes, man.
It's all about just trying to produce more. As a people, we just need to try and produce more.
I agree. And I think my closing remarks is the one who controls the means of production, that's where the wealth lies. And it's like if you want to generate wealth for yourself or within the community, control the means of production or produce. That's where the wealth lies. And I think that's my biggest takeaway. The other thing is also the idea of collaborating as well as a black community. We know there's going to be teething problems that inherently will await us. But it's starting that process and kind of asking yourself, where can I get this exact same product from? Even if it's a little bit of an inconvenience, maybe they're a bit far, whatever. But where can I get this product from, which will allow me to keep wealth or cash flow within the black community? And for me, it's like having an honest conversation with myself about that and seeing how I can implement that in my life. Tulani, you can wrap up for us as well.
Because I wrap it up.
Not always, but
We know